This is Bill Brady, One United Body. I'm doing another video as part of the Leadership Training School. This video is the first one of a series of videos on preparation. Your preparation for being a prophet, your preparation for being an apostle. I was called both as a prophet and as an apostle. So my preparation as a prophet then had preparation as an apostle built on top of it. So I got a double dose of preparation. Preparation is not easy. Some of it's very hard. Now, in one sense, your preparation includes everything about you. Probably from before you were conceived. I mean, when you were in illumination, before you had a body prepared for you, and you entered into that body at conception, that was preparation. Who you are, who you've always been, has been preparation for your calling as a prophet or an apostle. And then the body that you were given, the family that you were raised in or not raised in, the whole circumstances of your growing up were part of your preparation. Every bit of it. So my point is that your preparation did not begin at the point that you were called as a prophet or apostle. Your preparation began long before that. God was preparing you to be a prophet or apostle long before you even had a body. So everything about your circumstances is part of your preparation. There was no mistake about which family you were born into, or if your family was not your birth family. All these things are part of your preparation. Now, it's not that God, how do I want to say this? God turns everything for good, for the good of making you like Jesus, meaning to conforming you to the image of Yeshua. So all these things, no matter how painful they were, he turns them around for good, the good of making you like Yeshua. Okay, so what schools you went to, what training you had, is all part of your preparation. Now, I had a calling in 89 or 90 and was very, very impatient and frustrated for a long period of time because I didn't have any understanding about the length of time that calling, preparation, training, sending could take. No conception of that. I thought, well, okay, now I'm an apostle. I've been called as a prophet, and I was aware very soon that also included a calling as an apostle. So, okay, I'm an apostle now. No, you're not. You've been called to be an apostle. You're in preparation, and you will start training at a certain time. And okay, so my point is now let's go on to my work experience. My work experience was all preparation for what I was going to be doing as a prophet and apostle. I was frustrated because I would prefer to have been in ministry, and I knew that I had this calling, and I knew that I was supposed to be in ministry, so I really felt like I was out of place, not doing what I was supposed to be doing. But actually, I was in place doing what I was supposed to be doing. All of what I did as a job, the many jobs that I had, every one of them was preparation for what I'm doing now as a prophet and apostle. Now, the circumstances of your life, so part of that was training, is what I'm trying to say, not just preparation, but training. The skills that I learned as a supervisor in the call center, as a banking supervisor in a banking call center, those skills were leadership training. God trained me in the workplace. Somebody was paying me for it while I was getting trained. I didn't know that's what was going on. I was frustrated. If I had known what was going on, I could have relaxed and just I said, okay, this is God training me. Let me get as much out of this as I possibly can and get out of here as soon as possible. But get as much out of it as I possibly can. Let me have the best attitude about it the whole time. Be thankful and everything, and do this right. But I did it wrong. But anyway, it was training. Now let's talk about back to preparation, though. Your preparation makes you like Jesus, so that means you're going to suffer. Some of it's not going to be pleasant. A lot of it's not going to be pleasant. You will have more suffering in your life than anybody else does. And you'll be thinking, Lord, why me? And the answer is because you said yes to your calling as a prophet or as an apostle, and or apostle. That's why. It's part of your preparation. I was downsized. I don't remember the exact number of times that my job ended. Not for cause on my part, 4 or 5 times. One time I was working in a particular business and the owner of the business sold the business to somebody else. And the new owner offered me a job for them at, instead of $8 an hour, it was $7 an hour. And it was without benefits. I had medical benefits in the previous position. And I foolishly said, nope, I'm out of here, and quit on the spot. Not having learned the wisdom to keep doing what you're doing, even though you don't like it, and it's not really paying you as much as you want, but it's better to be paid something. And while you're doing that, look for the next job. Instead, I quit, and then I had to find something to do until the next job came along. So I'm learning all kinds of wisdom along the way, a lot of it the hard way. The quickest way to learn a lesson is to make a mistake and do it the wrong way, the unwise way, and face the consequences of your lack of wisdom, and then make a note to self of not ever doing that again. King David, before he was king, had his preparation, a lot of his preparation and a lot of his training by working for Saul the king. What he suffered a lot by working for Saul. Much of that time, Saul was trying to kill him. But before it came to the point that Saul, excuse me, was actively trying to kill David, Saul was being trained David was being trained as a king by note to self. Saul did it this way. I'm never going to do it that way. Saul did it this way, and I got to see the consequences of his actions. I saw him reap what he sowed. I don't ever want to reap what he sowed. I don't ever want the consequences of the actions. I want to do it the right way. Much of David's training was, don't do it like this. Over and over again, it was, don't do it like this. Don't do it like this. He's being trained under Saul, the king, the first king of Israel. And much of his training was, don't do it like this. Much of my training in the corporate world was, don't do it like this. I watched how it was done at higher and higher levels above me and made a note not to do it that way. Now, that's not comfortable because you're working for the person who's doing it the way it shouldn't be done in some cases, though that was always good to me with my people who were directly over me. I was, watching them as I prepared to move up to supervision. So I'm watching the supervisors that were over me. And then once I always had good supervisors. Well, some were difficult to work for. Then when I was a supervisor, I'm watching the people in the next step above that. And I made a decision, I don't ever want to pay the price needed to pay to go up to that level, because it's going to disrupt my walk in Christ. I won't be able to do the preparing and training that I need to do, because I'm going to end up spending my full life on the hamster wheel, working for the corporation. Because once you get to a certain point, you're overtime exempt, which means the job takes as long as it takes. And that's what you've agreed to, and that's what they expect from you. Of course, as a supervisor, it was the same thing, but further up the ladder, it was even worse. And I did not want to do that. Plus, which I didn't want to function in the way that they had to function to get ahead. I didn't have that killer instinct in me because that's just not who I am. It's not who I was being prepared to be and trained to be. But all that time in all those positions was preparation. Okay, back to having been downsized. Um, I'm a supervisor, one of maybe 10 or so in a call center. And they have to downsize because they've got too many supervisors now. I never saw it coming. I should have, because the number of people I was supervising kept shrinking. And then they did, and anyway, I won't go through the whole story, but when they chose 3 people, one person, there were 3 people above me at that level, they downsized one of them, fired him. And then they fired me, one of 3 people, they fired at supervisor level. Now, that was no fault of my own. I was doing a perfectly good job, but I was second shift, and there were 2 supervisors in second shift by the time that we got the downside. There had been 3. And working first shift and working second shift just wasn't the same thing. There was not an equality of expectation of what you were up against. And so they ended up firing both of the second shift supervisors because they didn't recognize the difference between working second shift and first shift. So it was not my fault. I had been doing exactly what God wanted me to do. But one day I came to work after the day, they called me in and said, "You're fired." And we did. I said, "Matt," and the guy that fired me cried because he didn't want to have to be doing this either. But then there were a bunch of us that the corporation paid to train us how to write resumes and get a new job. It was a 3-month program they put us into, which was very helpful, and I did get another job. And after 5 years of that, as a supervisor, I quit because my health was terrible, facing the pressure that was in that corporation and working for the guy that I was working for. Well, wasn't so much him, but pressure in the corporation trickled down to me through him. But anyway, 4 or 5 times I had this experience of having the job taken away from me and having to start over again. Well, why did that happen to me so many times? It wasn't because I was a terrible employee. I was one of the better ones. And certainly at the corporation that I got let go to, and I got downsized there because they were downsizing supervisors, I had contact with some of them later on, and I realized that most of the people that I was working for with that they kept quit later on. I mean, they took the notice to get out of there before it got worse. And I would have been one of the ones that would have stayed if they hadn't let me go. I know I'd probably still be there. But then I wouldn't have learned all the things I need to learn, all the next jobs that I got after that. So my point is, your whole life is preparation. Your whole life is training. And don't fight it. Don't resist it. Don't resent it. Be thankful for it. Realize that this is the plan that God has for you to get you from here to there until the place where He finally sends you out to start functioning as a prophet or an apostle, or sending as a prophet and sending as an apostle, if you're one that's called to both. Don't fight it. Don't resent it. Settle down into it. Accept it. It'll be over quicker if you don't struggle against it, and you'll learn the lessons that, instead of resenting being there, you will learn lessons that He wants to teach you as part of your training for to be an apostle and prophet. And you'll get all the preparation of your character that He needs to do in your life. Because you're not fighting it. Because I fought it, I probably had more preparation than I needed to. Part of that preparation was don't fight it. I didn't learn that lesson for quite a long time. Okay, that's enough on this for now. Point being, learn from my example, do it the right way, not the wrong way. It'll take less time.